When I stepped into the courtroom, Mom's expression was a mix of triumph and certainty. My brother leaned casually in his chair, whispering something to our attorney with a smirk. "It's over," he said under his breath. Everyone assumed I was about to lose everything that mattered. But what they didn't realize was the folder I clutched in my hands. A folder that could turn their perfect little lives upside down. If anyone's ever underestimated you, stick around. The courtroom air felt unusually cold, sharper than I remembered. Mom's diamond bracelet caught the light as she crossed her arms. A smug smile plastered across her face. She leaned slightly toward me and whispered just loud enough to be heard. "Still pretending to be a lawyer, Alexa? Maybe one day you'll actually win something." Her words were meant to cut, but I didn't flinch. I had spent the past year preparing for this very day. The day my family tried to take everything my father left behind. His estate, our childhood home, everything I had worked for while they labeled me a failure. Mom had brought her golden child, Ryan, the one who always seemed untouchable. He flashed that polished grin at the judge, the one that somehow made trouble disappear during our childhood. "Your Honor," he said smoothly, "we're just here to make sure the property goes to someone responsible." Responsible? I thought bitterly, recalling the credit card debts, crashed cars, and stolen jewelry. I clenched my fists but remained silent. Let them dig their own hole. The judge's eyes turned to me. "Miss Cole, do you have anything to add before we proceed?" I stood, my heels clicking against the polished floor. "Yes, Your Honor," I said, sliding a thick folder across the desk. "Everything they've said is false, and I have proof." For the first time, Mom's confident smile wavered. Ryan's face tightened. While they mocked me, I had quietly enlisted a forensic accountant. Every shady move they made with Dad's estate was about to be revealed. The judge leaned forward, intrigued. "Go on, Miss Cole." I exhaled slowly and opened the folder. "Let's start with the forged signatures and the offshore account your son conveniently forgot to mention." Suddenly, their smirks vanished. The courtroom, once theirs, felt like mine. Mom's hand shot out, gripping Ryan's arm. "What is this, Alexa?" she hissed, voice trembling. I didn't answer. The judge gestured for silence, scanning the documents and then my family's pale faces. Ryan forced a laugh. "Your Honor, this is absurd. She's fabricating everything. She's been unstable since Dad passed." "Unstable?" I said calmly, cutting him off. "Is that what you call someone who spent an entire year tracking every wire transfer, fake invoice, and hidden transaction in Dad's company?" Murmurs rippled through the room. Cameras clicked. Ryan's smile shattered. Mom leaned forward, trying to regain composure. "You mean this?" I slid a signed affidavit across the table. "The one you and Ryan forged after Dad's funeral, transferring ownership illegally?" The judge raised an eyebrow. "Forensic analysis confirms the signature was printed, not handwritten. And the notary doesn't exist." Ryan opened his mouth, then shut it. Mom froze. The courtroom tension was electric. I stepped closer. "You called me a failure. You said I'd never amount to anything. While you were busy stealing Dad's legacy, I was earning my law degree at night. And I waited to confront you here, in front of everyone." Ryan slammed his hand down. "You're twisting the facts. Dad wanted me to have the business." I smiled faintly. "Then why did Dad leave me this?" I pulled out a sealed envelope bearing his signature. The real one they didn't know existed. Mom gasped. "Where did you get that?" "From Dad's lawyer," I said, locking eyes with her. "The one you never knew he met 2 weeks before his death." The courtroom fell silent. Even the judge leaned back, stunned. I carefully opened the envelope. Inside was Dad's clear instruction. Everything business, estate, properties, was to go to me because he had discovered their deception. Mom's color drained. Ryan whispered, "This can't be happening." But it was happening. The judge called for a recess to verify the documents, and Mom clutched the table, unsteady. She looked at me as if I were a stranger. The tables had turned. I had finally proven that no one should ever underestimate you, especially your own family. Mom's flawless posture collapsed the instant the judge confirmed the letter was genuine. Ryan sat rigid beside her, jaw clenched, staring at the floor as if it might open up beneath him. I stayed still, heart racing, expression calm. The same expression they'd once mocked when I was the useless daughter. When the judge returned, his voice had sharpened. Mrs. Cole, Mr. Cole, based on the evidence, this transfer of ownership appears fraudulent. The court will move forward with a full investigation and potential criminal charges. Ryan shot to his feet. No, this is insane. She's twisting Dad's last wishes. The judge lifted a hand. Sit down, Mr. Cole. Mom's voice cracked, suddenly pleading. Alexa, we're family. We can fix this quietly. You don't need to destroy us. I turned to her slowly, my gaze steady. You destroyed me first, Mom. When you lied. When you chose greed over your daughter. A thick silence swallowed the room. The same people who used to gossip about the Cole family's disappointment were staring at them now, the polished couple who had worn masks of dignity for years. When court adjourned, reporters swarmed the hallway. Microphones thrust forward, cameras flashing. Ryan tried to push through, but a reporter's question stopped him cold. Mr. Cole, how does it feel to lose your father's company to your sister after being exposed for fraud? The cameras caught everything, the panic in his eyes, the fury twisting Mom's face, and my quiet stillness. I didn't need to say anything. The truth spoke for me. Outside, the cold air brushed my skin, but for the first time it didn't hurt. Emma was waiting on the courthouse steps, her phone glowing in her hand. Lex, it's everywhere already, she whispered. Your front page news. I let out a shaky breath. Good. Let them see what they did. But Emma's expression darkened. You should watch this too. She turned her screen toward me. A video already exploding online. Ryan storming out of the courtroom shouting, I'll destroy her. She doesn't deserve any of it. My stomach tightened. I recognized that look. He wasn't done. Not even close. I glanced back at the courthouse. If he wants a war, I whispered, he picked the wrong enemy. The next morning the headlines were vicious. Half the city had already decided I was the daughter who tore her family apart. But Ryan didn't stop with threats. He hired a team to bury me beneath fabricated scandals. Fake social posts claiming I forged the lawyer's letter. Anonymous emails to investors containing screenshots of contracts I'd never laid eyes on. A doctored video showing me leaving a courthouse at night, edited to look like I was shredding documents. I watched it all unfold, hands steady, stomach hollow. This was the moment my hidden groundwork had to shield me. I called Marcus, my forensic accountant, and Leia, our private investigator. I told them to trace everything, every wire transfer, every message, every fabricated post. They'd always worked in the shadows. Now it was time to fight back. Leia returned with a name I never expected. We found an IP trail, she said quietly. It leads to a firm registered under your mother's consulting business. My breath froze. Mom's consulting business, the one she flaunted at charity events, was involved in the smear campaign against me. I felt my hands tremble, but my expression remained cold. If Mom was part of this, it was no longer just betrayal. It was warfare. While the media fed on lies, Ryan filed an emergency motion to freeze the estate assets pending appeal. He wanted to drain the company before the investigation even began. The judge approved a temporary freeze, something I'd expected, but it still hit like a blow. My team rushed to file injunctions to block the freeze from taking hold. We needed time to turn our evidence into unbreakable proof. Late that night, I returned to my downtown office and saw the lock had been tampered with. Papers littered the floor, drawers hung open. Someone had been searching for something. My laptop was gone. My breath caught. But the one thing they could never touch, the encrypted backup containing all my case files, was never stored online. I had built it exactly for moments like this. On my desk lay a single Polaroid, placed face down as if someone wanted to hide it from me. My hands trembled as I picked it up. When I flipped it over, my stomach plunged. It was Dad laughing at a podium, but what made my blood run cold was the tiny sticky note in the corner. Mom's handwriting, no doubt about it. And beneath it, in thick black marker, someone had scrawled, "Make sure Alexa can't use this." Someone in my own family had been working to keep the one piece of evidence revealing Dad's true intentions buried forever. Someone with enough access to the estate files to know exactly where the original documents were locked away. I brushed my thumb across the glossy surface, realizing this battle wasn't new. It was just uglier now. If Mom had orchestrated the smear campaign and the break-in, what else had she done? And if Ryan had gone far enough to freeze the assets, what would his next move be? My phone vibrated. A text from an unlisted number. Stop digging or next time we won't leave your office so tidy. Attached was a file. Evidence.zip. I hesitated, then opened it. Inside was a single scan from Dad's journal, except the final line had been ripped off. The one line that tied everything together. Someone had stolen the last page. My throat tightened as realization settled over me. This wasn't just a legal war anymore. It was personal, and someone had already gotten to the backup copy. I didn't sleep that night. Every rustle outside my window made my heart race. But by sunrise, the fear had burned away, replaced by something sharper. Resolve. They wanted to drown me in lies. I was going to bury them in proof. I drove straight to Dad's old office building. The one Ryan had converted into a glorified storage vault. The place was supposed to be sealed for the investigation, but my keycard still worked. Inside, the air was thick with dust, old secrets, and the stale scent of money. I walked past framed photos of Ryan shaking hands with investors, past pictures of Mom smiling at charity galas. Every image felt like a frozen lie. In the back of the room, tucked behind a shelf of fake files, I found it. Dad's old safe. The one he'd told me about when I was 13. The one no one else knew the combination to. My fingers trembled as I punched in the numbers. 926, his birthday. A soft click. The door swung open. Inside lay a worn leather journal with Dad's handwriting across the cover. I flipped to the last page. My eyes stung as I read the missing line. If anything happens to me, Alexa is the only one I trust to protect what's ours. She's the future of this family, not the ones wearing masks. I snapped a photo, tucked the journal under my arm, and slipped out before anyone could see me. That afternoon in court, the air was so tense it felt solid. Mom and Ryan sat together, feigning confidence. Ryan's lawyer smirked like victory was already in his pocket. But I wasn't holding papers this time. I was holding truth. Your Honor, I said, lifting the journal. This is my father's original record, authenticated by handwriting analysts and containing the complete, untouched final page. The clerk carried it to the judge. Silence stretched as he read. Then he looked up, eyes sharp. This directly contradicts the plaintiff's claims. Case dismissed. All assets are to be returned to Miss Alexa Cole immediately. The gavel cracked like thunder. Mom's face collapsed, shock twisting into fury. Alexa, you can't do this to your own mother. I stood straighter. You stopped being my mother the moment money mattered more to you than the truth. Ryan slammed the table. You think you've won? This isn't over. Oh, it is, I said coolly. Because I've already forwarded your offshore account information to the IRS. Good luck explaining that. His face drained to a sickly white. Reporters erupted into a flurry of flashing cameras and frantic whispers. I walked out, each step heavy but free. Outside, Emma rushed to me, tears shining. You did it, Lex. You actually did it. I exhaled a thin, relieved smile. No. Dad did. I just finished what he started. That night, I stood outside the Cole firm. Cole and Associates. My name newly etched on the front door. The same empire they tried to rip from my hands now carried my legacy. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel like the mistake they called me. I felt powerful. Because the moment they thought they'd taken everything from me was the moment I proved them wrong.